And this is vk3sl, wishing you a very good evening and welcome to the test missions, the Corona Cast test missions. And we're back again, and with a sad heart, because I heard this morning that Ralph Knight passed away. Ralph had a huge influence on me. He mentored me when I was a kid, and he really got me sort of keen on nostalgia and old music. And as a very young kid, I was quite involved with 3CR. I used to go in quite regularly to Steam Radio and to Nostalgia Unlimited. And it was Ralph who took me under his wing and sort of shared with me his passion for nostalgia. So we're going to play a dedication to Ralph, and I think I might sort of put something together a little bit more comprehensive for tonight as well for our late night missions. So, the theme song for Steam Radio has always been The Kinkajou, and this is dedicated to Ralph Knight, who passed away this morning.
You dance before you think you do. You clown around, you're feeling oh so lazy, for you know you're shouting whoops-a-daisy. First you feel a kink or two, but here's the kick for you. Your one desire is to acquire each movement of the dainty dance will thrill you through. Oh, I know it will entrance you when you do the kinkajou.
Yes, the Kinkajou, the theme song from Steam Radio, and we're just playing a little bit of a dedication to Mr. Knight, who passed away this morning. Ralph was a great formative influence and a wonderful spirit, a true spirit, great character in so many ways. He had a wonderful sense of humour, he had an interesting sense of the absurd. There were many sort of quirky, influential aspects to his personality that I remember very dearly. Anyhow, we're spinning a couple of 78s in his memory tonight and this afternoon, and I've got another on turntable number 2. It's the Toymaker's Dream, and it's the Arcadia Dance Band from about 1930. vk3sl testing.
Workman was making toys all day, so children could be happy when they were all at play. One night when all was quiet, his daily work was done. In the shadows deep he fell fast asleep as the toys broke one by one. There's lions, camels, tigers, and elephants or two. Just hear that great big rooster sing cock-a-doodle-doo. And dear old Mother Hubbard, who found her cupboard bare, and Santa Claus, who's here because he has some toys to share. There's battleships and cruisers and big electric trains. The sky away above him is filled with aeroplanes. Right in his little workshop, he made them all, it's true. Attention, attention, get ready for review.
vk3sl test missions on 160 metres, and we've been listening to a selection of original 78s and just dedicating this program and tonight as well to in the memory of Ralph Knight, who passed away this morning. I think he was in his mid-70s. He was a very talented individual. He had the great technical skills and he did a great deal for 3CR. And also he had a remarkable collection of 78s, very quirky collection, and it satisfied many, many Steam Radio programs which sort of run more or less continuously from about 1976 through to very recent times. I've got one of his last programs here. I used to go in regularly and it was quite an experience. I used to be terrified. I'd come out in a rash and I'd be shaking, and I'm certainly not a cutout to be a broadcaster, but he had great, he always invited me into the fold, and it was a great community there. So I found a tape, I found a cassette from 1981. Now I would have been 12, just before my 13th birthday, and I think we'll play a bit of it. We'll have a listen. I haven't listened to this at all. Sample it, I don't know what it's like. I'm probably very very nervous and not don't say very much, but Ralph certainly will be in good form, so we'll have a listen to this, and if there's any good bits we might feature them again tonight. This is vk3sl testing with a tape from 3CR at early days at Smith Street, I think, in 1981. And we'll just have to switch this on. Here we go.
Every week at this time, the theme that you're hearing introduces Nostalgia Unlimited. My name's Ralph Knight. I'll be with you right through till 12 o'clock. Glad to make your acquaintance and for you to be with us. To open the show, we're going to jump right on the wagon. We're going to hear the London Piano Accordion Band with something just like that, Jump on the Wagon. And here they are right now, if you can hear them under the crackles.
Such a crowd was gathered on the little village green. The little village green was a very busy scene. Came Farmer Gray with the wagon load of hay, and they gave him a cheer when they heard him say, oh, jump on the wagon, jump on the wagon, jump on the wagon, and we'll all have a ride. We'll all go together, won't mind the weather, so jump on the wagon and we'll all have a ride. We'll sing all the way, riding on the hay, happy and contented 'cause it's market day. So jump on the wagon, jump on the wagon, jump on the wagon, and we'll all have a ride. Such a crowd was gathered at the little village inn. The little village inn, we were making such a din. Came Farmer Prout with the wagon load of stout, and we welcomed him with our tongues hanging out. Oh, drink up a flagon, drink up a flagon, drink up a flagon, and we'll all have a ride. We'll all go together, won't mind the weather, so drink up a flagon and we'll all have a ride. We'll sing all the way, riding on the hay, happy and contented 'cause it's market day. So drink up a flagon, drink up a flagon, drink up a flagon, and we'll all have a ride.
Jump on the Wagon, the piano accordion band, the London Piano Accordion Band to get their name dead right. Glad to have you with us on board our wagon, the Nostalgia Bandwagon. Hello, how are you? Oh, that's good. Glad you're so well. Well, I just had a couple of requests. The Donkey Serenade, well, just by coincidence, I think we might have that one on board as well. But John and Sean, you'll have to hold your horses until I find it. No pun intended, or pun intended, whatever you like. The next record is a rather obscure one. It's dated the 29th of something or the other, 1934. It's called The Rhymes of the Robots. Sort of got my imagination, so I thought I'd pop that one in. Then we're going to hear Clyde McCoy and his orchestra with Sugar Blues. But before we play them, I'd like to give you a hint of what we're going to play today. Between the hours of 9 and whenever we run out of records, we're going to be playing hotel bands from the 20s and 30s. The first one we're going to play was one of the very first records made in Australia, which happened to be Sidney Simpson and his Wentworth Cafe Orchestra Band from the Wentworth Hotel in Sydney. This was made in 1925, one of the very first electric recordings made in Australia. It has a matrix number R1. I don't know whether they ever made an R0 or not. I doubt it. But anyway, in the meantime, we're going to hear Rhyme of the Robots. It's whistling by Jules Lasky, and then one that I think you'll all know, Sugar Blues, Clyde McCoy and his orchestra. Clyde McCoy and the orchestra with Sugar Blues. And a terrific piece of violin work. What? Well, I'm only joking. Everyone knows it's a fiddle. Oh, I mean a trumpet. Oh dear, I'll get myself into trouble saying all those silly things. I'm not supposed to be funny. It's 12 minutes past 8. That's what the time is. Now you know. Now, I'd like to say hello to John and Spanner, it looks like. I hope I've got that right. Also, Sean Weary, I think. I can't read it, but anyway, they're in Port Melbourne. They rang up and wanted to hear Donkey Serenade. Well, we managed to find the old donkey, so we're going to serenade it, or at least Alan Jones is. And then, for the Hicklings in the northern suburbs of Melbourne, we're going to play the Parade of the Tin Soldiers. And we've chosen Reginald Dixon to play it on his great big Wurlitzer organ. That's especially for you, Gwen Hickling and Bert, right out there listening. Hope you enjoy it. But in the meantime, here is Alan Jones and the Donkey Serenade.
Does she not have a baby Jay?
Yes, sir.
She listens carefully to each little tune you play.
Si, la bella signorita.
Si, si, mi muchachito, she'd love to sing it too if only she knew the way. But try as she may, in her voice there's a flaw, and all that the lady can say.
But so sweet like my Chiquita, you're the one for me.
She cannot deny there's a light in her eye. Oh, the charm of her smile, so beguiled Don Diego that he rode a mile for the charm of her smile. Amigo mio, is she listening to my song?
Yes, sir.
No, no, mi muchachito, how can you be so wrong?
Oh, la bella signorita.
Si, si, la señorita, she'd love to sing it too if only she knew the way. Her face is a dream, like an angel I saw, and all that my darling can dream is the
Señorita, donkeycita, not so sweet as a mosquito, but so sweet like my Chiquita, you're the one for me.
Olé!
that was especially for you, Bert and Win. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll play a little bit more for you during the program. Hope you stay tuned. It's 8:20. I'd like to say hello to Roland. He rang in and said he was enjoying the show and he's from Sydney. And unfortunately, this program does not go to Sydney, but he rather thinks it ought to, and just rang up and said he's enjoying it. Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying the program so far, Roland, because we've got another 3.5 hours of music ahead of us. And for all you people who have just tuned in, round about 9 o'clock, we'll be going on a nostalgic pub crawl. You heard me, yes, but you can be quite temperate people, because the only thing that's going to be intoxicating is the music, and we sincerely hope that that will be intoxicating. We're going to start off that segment with quite an uncommon record, the first electric record made in Australia. It's Sidney Simpson and his Wentworth Cafe Orchestra from the Wentworth Hotel in Sydney. And then we'll be going all over the world with Savoy Orpheans and Michael Floam and his Mayfair Hotel Orchestra, and many, many others that you may not have heard of. Some fairly obscure recordings, but nevertheless rather intoxicating. Oh,
This is a test
we're
transmission
real drinkers
from
here, aren't we?
vk3sl.
Drinking music, that is. Well, we're going to have Fats Waller and his Continental Rhythm right now, with a recording made in London back in 1939. Don't Try Your Jive on Me. Then I think we might have something rather sentimental. It's the old refrain, and it's Lou White and his orchestra, and it says a musical dramatisation. So let's have a listen. Don't Try Your Jive on Me.
You tell me you love me only. Say you're feeling so lonely, but I know you're lying. That's why I'm crying. Now don't you try your jive on me. Oh, you ask me a whole gang of questions. You make all kinds of suggestions. If only you meant it, I wouldn't resent it, but don't try your jive on me. All day long, you hang around. Can't you see you bring me down? Yes, yes. I know that you think you're a sender. Never make me surrender. In fact, you don't rate. I'm telling you, Gate. Now don't try your jive on me.
that old refrain. Wasn't beautifully sung, a musical dramatisation by Lou White. And there's many Lou White recordings where he plays the Kimball organ at the Roxy Theatre in New York, but that was something quite different from Lou White, wasn't it? I've got a message for you right now. Here it is. You're listening closely? Can't hear a thing. Oh, isn't that dramatic?
Are you one of those?
Yes. You one too?
Are you a lapsed 3CR listener sponsor? Repent now and renew. The penance is $10 or $5 if you're unemployed, plus $5 if you'd like to receive our bi-monthly program guide. Save your ears from the scourge of
I should remind you, you're listening to vk3sl, not 3CR. This is a recording from over 40 years ago.
On the path of solvency.
You're tuned to 3CR Community Radio, where I'd like to introduce a very good friend of ours. His name's Steve. Steve Langley.
That's right.
That's right. How old are you? What grade are you in at school? Everything?
Well, Ralph, I'm 12 years old and I'm...
One of our younger nostalgia listeners.
Yes, that's right. And I'm in Form 1.
Oh, that's good. I remember when I was in Form 1.
Do you?
Yes, no end of trouble. No end of trouble at all. But you've been coming down and helping sort out records and finding them for listeners and all that sort of thing, because I gave you a great big long list of records and indexes, and you've been going through all the indexes and generally being very helpful. We're very grateful, and I'm sure the listeners that are copying their records that they asked for. We shouldn't really say that, but we have been able to be a little more efficient thanks to you.
Oh, that's all right, Ralph.
Well, we're going to have a request. This is for John Walton out in Bentley, I believe. And as a matter of fact, there's a story about this record. Last week, I announced that I'd be playing it, and then at the last minute, I put the record on a nice clean bench, which wasn't too clean. There was jam or something all over the bench, and the record was too dirty to play, so I had to clean it up, and I played the other side, and John missed hearing it. One of those things that happened, but we're going to put that to rights right now. It's Dinah Shaw, and let's take the long way home. Then directly after that, we'll have some comedy. I'll tell you all about the comedy when we get to it in about 2 minutes. But in the meantime, especially for John Walton out in Bentley, it's Let's Take the Long Way Home.
This is vk3sl. We're testing here on 160, and we've been listening to a recording made in 1981 featuring Ralph Knight, Wallowing in Nostalgia. It's Nostalgia Unlimited from 3CR, and that's a program that was still concurrent, still going, and Ralph was at the helm for a very long time. In fact, Steam Radio, his other program, Saturday afternoon program, is still running, and he started that in about 1976. I started to go into Cromwell Street with my dad when I was about 10. That was in 78. So yes, I had a long-standing association with the nostalgia scene at 3CR, and it sort of got me going and got me interested. So very important formative influences, and a couple of the programs I got on tape. I do have one of me as a 10-year-old somewhere, but I've lost that. Anyhow, there we go. That's what happened. And, dedicating this to Mr. Knight, who died this morning, very sadly. And really great loss, because he was a true spirit and a very generous and affable person. he had a incredible knowledge. We saw him in hospital not long. Mr. L and I went to see him in hospital a couple of months ago, and it was good. And we actually conducted an interview, which we might find a forum for at some stage. Anyhow, there we go. Nostalgia. And we'll play some more tonight, I think. We might hear the second half of that program or some more of it tonight on the late night missions. So just a reminder that at 11:30 we have more test missions, and that's the program where we really sort of go to town and try things out, be a little bit more creative. And I'm very happy to share the desk with Frank, vk3sl, who will be joining me from about 12:30ish, and we have no idea what we're going to do, but we'll just let nature take its course. That's the plan. All right, we'll move on to some classical music now, I think. And I'm just looking up the playlist here. Now, a work that's been brought to my attention very recently, and a work that I really do enjoy. In fact, we have played it on earlier missions, and that is the Piano Concerto in G major by Maurice Ravel. It's a work which is inspired by French Basque folk music and also jazz influences. He spent some time in the States, and he was really very excited by what he was seeing in the syncopated realm. So yeah, jazz music features as an influence on this concerto as well. So it's a late work of Ravel's, but a very spirited one. It also has neoclassic elements. So I've got a recording here of Martha Argerich, and it's a fairly recent one. It's one recorded in about 2012, I think. So we'll just cue this up and let's have a listen. The Piano Concerto in G major, and this is, it's a Nobel Prize concert in 2009. Let's have a listen to Ravel's Concerto in G major. This is vk3sl testing and streaming online. This is a test transmission from vk3sl. Hey, what a great performance. Fantastic. Arthur Argerich in amazing form. It's heard her playing Ravel's Piano Concerto in G major. That was from a Nobel Prize concert in 2009. Gosh, he plays well. And what a fantastic piece of music. Full of colour, and it's quintessentially French, isn't it? But still with some influence from Ravel's travels in America. There we go. Piano Concerto in G major. vk3sl test missions on 160, and also a streaming service. You can find me on vk3sl as a YouTube channel as well. So that's the go-to place if you want to be entertained. Certainly, no entertainment on the airwaves, not at all. That's the last thing on my mind. Let's have a look. We'll hear some more Ravel, I think. I'm on a Ravel roll. And we'll now listen to the Ravel Piano Concerto for the left hand. This is a work he wrote a few years prior to the one we just heard. It's a work written for Paul Wittgenstein. He was a concert pianist who lost his right arm in First World War, and he commissioned Ravel to write this work. So, written for the left hand alone. And interestingly, Ravel was not a happy person when the premiere occurred, because Mr. Wittgenstein decided to add his own embellishments and editorial ideas, and they were at odds with each other. It was quite an interesting one to read about. So anyhow, I think they reconciled in the end, but the premiere was not a happy occasion. And there's another interesting story about this, which I'll just mention as a teaser, because we'll hear it at the end. There is another very interesting dimension to this work, which we'll explore thereafter. It's not that long. It's a one movement or two movements joined together, depends how you look at it. And we have a recording here with Casa de Sus and Mr. Chalabadahi at the baton again. So let's have a listen to Ravel's Concerto for one hand. VK3SL, testing.
This is a test transmission of vk3sl.
just heard Ravel's Piano Concerto for the left hand. Recording made in 1952, Casa de Sus and Chelebedaki and the Vienna Symphony Orchestra. There we go, another Ravel fest tonight, listening to his two piano concertos. Well, I will wind up, I think, with a recording of Ravel playing the piano himself. Let's have a listen. Two. Here's famous Pavan for a Dead Princess. And we're devoting tonight's program in the memory of Ralph Knight, who passed away this morning. Dear old Ralph, he was a great influence on me and a wonderful spirit who a lot of people had very warm affection for. All right, just a word that we are having late night missions this evening. So starting at 11:30 and going to the wee hours, we'll do something. I don't know what it is. Probably will have another dedication to Mr. K. And there'll be other stuff too. And I'm looking forward to having a good old chinwag with Mr. Frank. So that'll be great. So there we go, and I don't think there's any other news at this point. I think we'll just wind up with this, and I don't think we need our usual exit music tonight. I think this will be the last offering. So, without any further ado, this is vk3sl, wishing you a very good evening. Until next time.